This video sponsored by EA. What is going on, Galafam? It is your host, Galadon. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. That's right, today's video about Command & Conquer Rivals. If you have not checked this game out, it is time, alright? If you've played Command & Conquer in the past, you're going to find this a lot of fun. If you haven't, let me tell you, it is real-time PvP strategy that is not quite like anything else I've ever played. It is action-packed, it is in-depth, it's easy to pick up in small bits and pieces. You could just play for a few minutes on your phone, get off to work, school, whatever. I do like that a lot about the game. The battles are short, but let me tell you, the strategy runs deep. There are so many different strategies, and I'm learning a great deal from my fellow Alliance members over here at Full Attack. Now, the Alliance may be full, but you can always create your own or look for another Alliance. It's a great way to pick up tips. I have definitely seen some replays in my Alliance that just, I didn't think that was a strategy. I didn't realize it. And again, great ways to counter. There is a lot to this game. The fundamentals are right here. You see the three pads that are either lit red or blue, depending upon which team is in control, or they can be yellow if they are contested, meaning if you've got both players on one of those pads trying to gain control at the same time. Now, as long as you've got control of two pads and your opponent has one, like right here, you launch the missile against your opponent. There you can see that top left pad is now turned yellow. You could have control of one pad and your opponent doesn't have any, and you're going to be able to eventually launch the missile, but it does take some time. That counter has to count down, so control at the last second is really what's most important. So right here you can see Doodad moving in. He's got control of two pads, but he's really focused on this big offensive push. He's not even worried about the pad on the right hand side here. Now here he moves forward, again top left contested pad, middle, he's got control, his opponent putting up units. He also has two harvesters running. You'll notice that the opponent ran two harvesters. Doodad didn't bother, he is just pushing offensively, keeping the pressure on constantly, and just kind of overrunning his opponent right here. You can see as that top left pad becomes the spot where all of the battles are, Doodad has built this blockade in the center of the screen. There was no way his opponent is getting through, and that is going to lead to his opponent's demise as the second missile launches, lands, and he picks up the quick victory. But that is just one of the many amazing replays from amazing players in my Full Attack Alliance. This one, we've got Jekyll at work. If you saw an earlier video, you saw Jekyll with some great attack strategy. And yes, these guys are level 10. So I've got players of many different skill levels and trophy levels and player levels that are in my Full Attack Alliance. So we see a lot of different strategies as well. Here we've got a Nod player that Jekyll is facing, Mad Dog, and a very different strategy. But notice right away that Jekyll is focusing on harvester harassment right here as he sends in those ground units to really, it's more of a distraction than anything else. If you watch the strategy closely, the opponent Mad Dog has two harvesters up. Jekyll has just one harvester up, and Mad Dog seems to be going to those scarabs over and over and over again, the epic infantry on the Nod side. Notice they come out, and although they die upon attacking, they create a fire that damages any ground unit, so it can make it a little bit more difficult, and that's why it is important to know your units, know your opponent's units as well. You need to know their strengths and weaknesses, not only what they do, how they attack, but how they move and which vehicles, infantry, or air units they are going to be more effective against, because again, certain units can't even touch air units and vice versa, so you need to watch out for that. Okay, let's watch Jekyll moving in with the Predator tank after Mad Dog's harvesters. Mad Dog on the defense once again, and in the meantime, Jekyll has managed to launch the first missile. So great strategy right there, as again, you didn't even need to control both pads. Just the one pad was enough for Jekyll to pick up the first missile launch, and now you'll notice there's some damage to his base. The strategy is about to change. Watch as Jekyll continues to put the pressure on Mad Dog, and Mad Dog continues to chip away at Jekyll's base. And this, of course, is a completely viable strategy and often can work well when you're behind on the missiles, like Mad Dog is right now. So watch as the pads continue to be contested. Jekyll continues to put pressure and takes down a harvester right here. So now Mad Dog realizes, as he sends out a replacement harvester, that he's got to go for it. He is going to send in an attacking force and try to make the big push against Jekyll's base. You see the vehicle stacking up right here. It looks like he's after that harvester, but primarily he's grouping up a force here to go after the base. In fact, Jekyll down to 50%, and now they're virtually tied, except for, that's right, Jekyll had control of the pads. You've got to watch both. And Jekyll picks up the victory, launching the second missile just before his opponent can put that big rush in and take down his base. So again, like I said at the beginning of the video, there is so much depth to Command & Conquer Rivals. Not only can you choose to fight as GDI or not, then of course you have all of the different units to learn, the ground units, the vehicles, the air units, and then of course the maps. There are so many different unique maps, and lots of strategies work on specific maps better than others based upon the placement and the number of pads and the location and the amount of Tiberium available. So as Thunderpain gets underway against Jorge, you'll notice that his opponent has kind of built up some vehicles right at his base and is trying to save them up for a sudden rush. It looks like maybe just trying to gain control of the first pad. Neither player has gone towards the other two pads, but again, like I said earlier, you only need to control more than your opponent. So as long as Jorge had that first pad under control, he was gaining that timer on the missile. Now you can see it has turned yellow because Thunderpain occupied the bottom left pad, and it's kind of a stalemate right here. The timer is not counting up. You'll see it's yellow because it's one pad each, and this really is settling in to be a long, protracted battle, longer than the first two that we saw. But let's fast forward to a little bit later in the battle and check out that timer as each player has a control of one pad until Jorge picks up the top middle pad and Thunderpain moves the air unit down to the right-hand side. That air unit quickly overpowered, and here it comes. The first missile launch of the game, several minutes in, is by Jorge, and Thunderpain looks to be at a huge disadvantage. Now at this point, both players have two harvesters in play, and while Thunderpain has brought out many Predator tanks from the War Factory, it is time for him to switch up strategy. Watch out as the disruptors start to come out of the tech lab late in the game. This is going to catch his opponent off guard. The disruptor, important to note, not only can it fire while moving, it attacks 2 tiles away. Notice the disruptor on the bottom left pad moving forward slowly but surely, and it's going to start working on the vehicles on the bottom right pad while another disruptor is moving up towards the top, and then he plants a minigun turret next to that pad as well. So pressure right here on 2 fronts, and this is just going to be a little bit too much for Jorge to handle. You'll notice he moves a unit, but not out of range. He places his own turret as a defensive mechanism, but now Thunderpain controls 2 pads, and there's not a lot that his opponent can do to stop it. Too many vehicles on the left-hand side. Again, the disruptor able to attack from 2 tiles away, and too much on defense on the bottom right. So great strategy right here as he's not only picking away at these units at the bottom, trying to force his opponent to focus down there. And that's exactly what Thunderpain wanted, because here comes the tying missile launch. Now they are 1-1. What is going to happen right here? Again, a player could go after the opponent's base. It looks like Jorge is going to try to make a move on the bottom left pad, or is he going after the base? Nope, it looks like it's sometimes tough to tell, but there it's obvious. He's going for the base damage, moving everything he has. And this is always a risky maneuver, because can you get the damage on your opponent's base before your opponent gets the missile launch? It's going to be very close. It looks like Thunderpain might lose right here, but again, check out the missile launch timer. No contested pads. He tries to get the bottom left pad contested, but it's too little too late, and Thunderpain picks up the victory. And this is something I see again and again. These last-second reversals of fortune come from behind victories. It makes for some dramatic excitement in the leagues and in the regular matches as well. Definitely, if you haven't had a chance to pick up Command & Conquer Rivals, try it, download it. If there's a spot, you're welcome to join Full Attack. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all back here again tomorrow for more Full Attacks.